This morning, we continue to learn more about the history of Juneteenth.
Joining us this morning is Raul Ramos, PhD Associate Professor in the Department of History at the University of Houston. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. I want to jump right into this. First, Dr. Ramos, can you tell us more about the history with the emancipation of slaves and the Civil War?
Well, sure. Again, Juneteenth is such a wonderful commemoration, very specific to Texas, but really it's a moment to reflect more broadly on emancipation, beginning with the moment we mostly recognize, which is the Emancipation Proclamation, which happened in the middle of the Civil War. Some would even argue it was a wartime measure. In other words, it was a way to weaken the Confederacy by signing an order that eliminated slavery or enforced emancipation in states and, in fact, in counties that were still in rebellion. Those who were not in rebellion didn't have emancipation at that point. What we celebrate in Juneteenth is the beginning of making that whole, and then the next step, which is the amendments to the Constitution, 13th and 14th Amendment, which effectively end slavery for good. And so Juneteenth commemorates an important step, but one that really reminds us about the reality of emancipation. How do you go from being enslaved? How do you go from a society where dominated by slavery to one of equality, and realize that that does not happen by itself? It doesn't happen without effort, without action. And that action in Galveston on June 19th, 1865, marks an important step in the lives of people affected by that order.
All right, so Dr. Ramos, I just have a question.
Sure.
A lot of people wonder why it took so long for slaves in Galveston to be told about the General Order Number 3. We were just listening to a historian live in Galveston this morning who phrased it rather that they needed this order to basically say, no, you have to free slaves. Was it that Texas knew about it and they knew about it in Galveston and weren't freeing slaves, or just that they didn't get word that this had been passed?
You mean slave owners, slave masters?
Yes.
Absolutely, there were many people who didn't want things to change. They did not want to accept reality. They did not, and more importantly, they control. This gives you an idea of the amount of control slave masters had over the lives of the people they enslaved. If they could, they would keep that information from them in order to maintain what they saw as their rights, at the expense of the rights of enslaved people. And so that was that's true. That if it were up to them, they wouldn't change. They wouldn't have informed their enslaved people, told them that they're free, given them their rights, explained their rights. It had to happen with essentially an occupation.
A very important history lesson, and even more important that these stories continue to be shared. Dr. Ramos, thank you so much. Associate Professor in the Department of History at U of H.